Hello viewers, you're watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station. My name is Aliou Sise and I'm here at the State House in Banjul for a special interview with President Barrow on the current state of affairs of the country. Well, from economic challenges to stalled reforms and corruption, I will challenge him on his government's plans and visions. Well, with 2026 elections approaching, will he seek re-election? Well, we will find out in this interview. Your Excellency, thank you so much for granting us your time to speak to us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aliou. Thank you and thank your team and thank QTV for this opportunity. You're welcome.
I will start with the economy. As we speak, inflation is at 10.3% according to the Central Bank of the Gambia as of November 2024. And of course, I mean, we certainly know it's not doing well as many will say. Could you just share with us, I mean, what are your plans, your government plans to stabilize the dollars and, of course, reduce the cost of living?
Yes, inflation is about 10.3, but it was around 18%. So that means inflation is coming down. And there are many factors that affected us, and our dollar was depreciating and inflation was increasing. If you look at these factors, COVID was part of it. COVID affected the entire world. So it's not only Gambia. It is affecting the entire world, especially Africa, have been affected by inflation. But I think for the past years, Gambia has been doing very well. We are able to bring inflation down to 10.3. The way we are seeing things, we want to bring it down to below 2 digits. In bringing it down, we have to tighten the economy, and at the same time, we have to make also that we produce as a country. You know, initially we are depending on agriculture. That means we export groundnuts out of this country. Groundnuts are not doing very well in the world market, but now our direction is to go into industrialization. In industrialization, you produce. You are not a liability. I think that is important. And in industrialization, you grow your economy. You create employment. And also it will save your forests. These are areas that we are emphasizing on. And we are working with all the institutions that we think can create this environment so that the private sector will drive our economy. So basically, even right now, I'm just from a meeting, and I was having a meeting with an investor. We are thinking of also making sure that we have electricity that is reliable, that is affordable, and is sustainable. And in getting that in place, we need to modernize. We go into clean energy. That's why if you are following events, we have just to open a tender for a solar farm that is 50 megawatts. And that 50 megawatts will be followed by 100 megawatts. That will be like 150. Plus already we have in Java 23, then that will be 173. In real terms, Gambia needs, if we have 200 megawatts in place, that means we have enough power to supply our market, but without this energy mix, the price will not come down. The cost will not come down. And if the cost is high over there, it is passed on to the consumers, to the local people.
Are you really concerned about the cost of living?
Of course. I am very much concerned about the cost of living. I'm very much concerned about the cost of living. That's why we are doing everything possible to address the cost of living. Because if you look at our country and Africa in general, today all what our people are talking about is cost of living. But what are we doing to address the cost of living? One problem that is affecting us, we are importing basically 85% of what we consume. And if we are importing it, then that means we are not the one deciding on the prices. We are not the one deciding the cost. It is other people who are deciding the cost. It's the other people who are dictating the cost in our country. To address that, it has to be an other way around, whereby we produce. That means we decide and we can reduce the cost of living. This is the way we are thinking. That's why we are encouraging business people to go into agriculture. Normally, in our country, traditionally, we think it's poor people who should go into agriculture. We want to change that. We want to use agriculture as a business. When you use it as a business, then that means you continue to produce. You industrialize. In this industrialization, you need the environment. Two things that you need: investment, that is money. 3, you need energy. You don't need energy only. We need reliable power source, affordable power source. These are all factors. And we are encouraging business people. Javel has already started, and others will follow very soon. In the next 2-3 years, I think we can produce a lot of food in this country, and we will save a lot of forex. Because the forex issue is also a matter of demand and supply. That demand and supply affect the forex. And the other aspect of it also, we have to officialize how we handle our foreign exchange. Anybody who is involved in buying and selling of currency must be registered, must be within our organization. It must be within the, the organized business system. That means there will be control measures. This is where we are going to. But these things takes time. These things you have to follow due process. You have to follow the laws, because our country is a democracy. And if you are in a democracy, obviously the rule of law is important. You cannot use executive powers to implement things. It doesn't work that way. Because the moment you use executive powers, you bring in hoarding. When there is hoarding, then you are in trouble. That's what we try to avoid. And as the former American president said, democracy is not a good system, but it's better than the system that are tested. And we believe in that. So we will do everything possible to follow due processes and follow laws and follow our policies in place to make sure we address the cost of living.
And because, like you said, we have some people who are now going into agriculture, to make sure we are able to feed ourselves. But for someone watching this program who is an ordinary farmer in my village, Demaraba, will be saying, perhaps I don't need someone to invest in agriculture. I can do it myself. I have the land. But perhaps the issue of farm equipment, fertilizer, and those incentives, sometimes they complain that it's not coming forward. What will you respond to that?
Yes, that is the old way of the way we are doing it. I think that is not enough. That is not enough, because ordinarily you just come to the farm, use local tools, and work on your farm. That is just maybe for food security or for family sustenance. But if you want to compete in the world, if you want to grow the economy, if you want to address the cost of living, obviously you have to go beyond that. In going beyond that, we need people who are educated. We need engineers who are educated, who know what they are doing. People are producing rice. I can just give you an example. Producing rice, you produce 1 acre of rice, maybe the entire production will be like 3 tons. You understand? But with an improved variety, you can produce up to 7 tons, you can produce up to 10, some can produce up to 11 on the same size. You produce 3, somebody else produce 10. It's producing 3 times. What will dictate that is because of knowledge. So we need engineers, we need people with knowledge who are guided, you understand, on this modernization in agriculture. That is the only way forward. But giving farm equipments here and there will not solve the problem. This is the way we are seeing, I think, and I think that's the way forward.
I mean, let's now look at, the issue of diaspora remittances. It's very important to the economy of this country. Last year, we saw, $776 million as remittances, sent into the country. As a government, what are you doing to integrate these funds into, national development strategies?
These remittances are very important. They help us getting foreign currency in this country. And all these remittances are invested in this country. It's key, but it's not in the formal sector. First, what we try to address is all the remittances so that they can all come through a formal sector. That is the banking sector. First, that is important. When you get it through the banking sector, we are also trying to encourage the people who are in the diaspora to invest in the formal sector. One, we now want to build a toll road. We went outside to sell this project to Gambians. The project is $165 million. We are selling shares to Gambians so that Gambians will purchase this. And Gambians outside, $1,000, $10,000, $15,000, we put that together and invest in a road that will be a toll road. You understand? When you have that toll road, back home, the moment the road is built, it will address congestion. It will cut down on the time. And the money is invested in the formal sector. And that means you are investing into the formal sector, making business, and it is a joy whereby people come together and build a project that is a landmark project. This is the way we are thinking. And we want them also to invest into the banking sector. Very soon, we have already, not soon even, we have already issued a license to a bank that will be a development bank. And in that development bank, we want Gambians to own shares in the development bank. And Gambians that has the capacity to invest can be Gambians outside. Even Gambians locally can invest into it, but Gambians outside, with their remittances, with their capacity, can invest in that, development bank. The moment you have a development bank is different from a commercial bank. We can all depend on, partnering with that development bank to implement our projects. Whether you want to build a house, whether you want to build a factory, whether you want to go into agriculture, that bank will partner all of us. Very soon, the bank will start.
How soon?
It is already launching.
Okay.
So obviously, within the next 6 months, I think we should see the bank up and running. Already, there is an amount of $300 million to start the bank. So the bank already is already liquid, and obviously, we will be selling shares to Gambians. We want Gambians to own it. We want Gambians to have ownership, because we want Gambians to lead. This is our country. Others should not be leading, we follow. So we should be leading. So this is the way we are modernizing things in this country.
And recognizing the potential of the diaspora in the development of the country, yet, I mean, they cannot hold ministerial positions because they have dual citizenship. Don't you think it's high time we change the laws, at least to have some of this expertise coming back home to contribute to national development?
We are a country of laws. This is within our laws. And it's we, the Gambian people, who can change it. But it's the majority who can change it. It's not one person. It's not the president only. This is our intention. We are discussing with institutions that are part of this process. But sometimes in a democracy, people agree to disagree. You understand? And in a democracy, all of us can stretch our muscles, depending on we are thinking. But the diaspora in our constitution is only a cabinet that they cannot be appointed to or contest election in National Assembly. These are the only two institutions. But we have other institutions. They can be managing directors, permanent secretaries, ambassadors. These are all there.
They can't be president. You have to renounce your citizenship.
They can be president, but that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But obviously, our intention is to make sure that we allow all of them to be part of our processes. But people see things differently. They said you cannot be loyal to two countries. This is the way people see it also. Do
you agree?
And I don't think I agree with it 100%. Because some of these people, they acquire these documents just to have status in those countries, so that they can be comfortable there, so that they can operate there. You understand? Because most of them, despite all those papers and everything, their investment and everything is in Gambia. This is the way they are thinking. But do you think we will think in the same way? No. Everybody's not thinking in the same way. This is something that we can depend on. But to me personally, I don't believe in such things. But I am within a system, I'm within a democracy. It's not the president alone in this. But I believe one day it will happen.
Away from that, let's now move to the state-owned enterprises, which are very critical as far as your government is concerned. But, we have seen them being criticized for inefficiency and financial mismanagement. What reforms are in place to make sure this thing doesn't continue?
Yes, Aliu, we had a history in the past, about 22 years, dictatorship. When I came to power, my first job as president was to decentralize, because power was all centered here. Every decision was taken in State House, basically. So we started returning back those powers to the sectors. In the first 6 months, that was my major concentration. This is what was happening. So that affected our system. We needed a complete reform, a complete overhaul of the system, because it was about dictatorship, it was about executive decisions. This is the way we were running our country in those days. And we want that to change. And also during the period, capacity was an issue. So it cannot happen overnight. One thing is important, building capacity. In building capacity, we train our people to be professionals. This is what we are trying to do. In doing that, you have a lot of work. And we are trying to do that so that our institution will be efficient, especially parastatal. Because I always tell them here when we meet, I'll tell them the parastatals were established for one thing, to support government, to pay dividend to government as a business institution. Recently, when I had a meeting with them, I told them some of these institutions, I'm not sure with my figures, but I think it's above 37 billion. Their assets, if you put it together, about 37 billion, something like that. I told them, If I bring in a Sarahule man, my uncles, Tunkaras, I told them if I bring a Sarahule man who cannot write his name, I gave him 37 billion. At the end of the year, he can pay me 5 billion profit. Sarahule man who cannot write his name. But we said we have studied, we are masters, we are PhD, we are economists. Why? Some of you are even dependent on government. It is the other way around. Instead of you paying dividends to government, government is now doing the other way around, giving you money. Then something is wrong.
Or paying their loans.
Of course. Yeah, that's taxpayers' money. Last time I told you, I said I cannot accept taxpayers' money. That's why we have to liquidate AMRC. I had a meeting with them. When I had a meeting with them, when I interviewed them, I told them, my friend, you are selling government property to use it to pay your salary, you understand, and sustain your institution. What will that benefit government? I think it's better I have an agent who will be doing these services for me. I pay him service fee and I got my money in my pocket. That's why I liquidated. They are now in the government system. They are close.
Has the performance contract in any way changed the operations?
You see, so these are the issues. We are looking at all these institutions. But now, we don't want to privatize only. We want to partner. We want to partner with institutions that has capacity. But in this partnering also there are processes, because always we go into tender processing so that we will have the best. The port, it took me 7 years to 8 years for us to take a decision to come to a conclusion. But we wanted something. Until we got a company that is offering what we want, that's the time I told them, I think it's better we go into negotiations. In doing this also, there is risk. It cannot be 100%. But we believe that the partnership that we have now will make a big impact at the port. It will change the waiting time. The demurrage that people are paying will reduce. And we will have a new deep sea port after 6 years. And I want that to be part of my legacy.
Is it embarrassing that a country as us, that we can even manage our ports, that we have to privatize it?
It's an embarrassment. It's unfortunate. But this is what we have inherited. And we cannot go do it overnight. We have to change our policies and change the way we are thinking. And we cannot rush this. This is our most important and valuable asset. We cannot joke with the port. So it's not like it's a banana thing that you just meet somebody around Ghana Marcy and you sign with him. It's not like that. This is high profile business. This is millions of dollars. So that's why we took our time. But I think now, we have taken the right decision. Very soon, you will see the improvement. And it will even affect cost of living.
Really?
Yes, so. No doubt. Because the moment we have a deep sea port, big ships will be coming to Gambia. And that will definitely reduce the cost. Turnaround time, we are talking about 24 hours. Turnaround time, no demurrage. The businessman that I was discussing with, he said recently, when he had his ship here, he paid $350,000 for demurrage. And they'll pass that cost to the consumer. That's not helping us.
Yeah, they're into business and they want profit.
And it is me and you who are paying for it. Because whatever they are bringing, we are the one consuming it. So they put it on their cost. The cost is transferred to the Gambian people. So getting the port in place will address cost of living. No doubt about that.
What's the fate of other enterprises such as NAWEC? Do you think it's high time we consider privatizing NAWEC?
It's an institution.
Or even GAMTEL?
NAWEC is an institution that is a very sensitive institution and it's a very important institution.
Okay.
You want government present there. You know why?
Yeah.
NAWEC is offering social services. And social services are very important and very sensitive. Without them offering their services, it can cause social unrest in this country. So that's why it is important to us to make sure NAWEC is in place. But in doing that, we have partners like the World Bank, partners like the African Development Bank, partners like ECOWAS. These are all our partners that we are working with. That's why we think we will have universal access by 2025. That means about 90% of Gambians should access electricity. 85 to 90% of Gambians should access electricity. This is because we are working with our partners.
And you still believe this is realistic?
Yes, it's realistic. According to our roadmap, it's realistic and it's possible. But that is not enough. We want reliable electricity. We want the cost to go down, affordable. That's why we have tendered. Already they have sublisted. Very soon the 50 megawatts will start. And we have also started connecting from Guinea. That is the ONVG.
Yes, right.
So when we have all this mixed together, I think energy will be stable in this country and the cost will be reasonable and we will industrialize. You know, we have a free zone now around that same area where we have. And we have an industrial zone also in the same area. But these are factors, these are part of the investments that will complement the industrialization, that will complement the free zone. The man that I had this meeting, I told in that free zone also, we need a leader, companies that has capacity. You understand? And when those companies start, then others will follow. So we are trying to see big time investors to start the free zone in the Gambia.
What's your assessment of the work so far being done by the State Enterprises Commission that you established?
I think they are doing a good job.
Okay.
Because the oversight function is very important. I think most of our SOEs, they are very, very relaxed because they are state institutions. They are not under any pressure because with or without making profit, you will get your salaries, you get incentives, and all. So now we are getting people who are putting them under pressure, doing the oversight function, and also giving them targets. Recently, the target that was given to NAWEC, they were not able to meet some of their targets, and we reduced their salary by 5%. So there are consequences when you don't meet your target.
And they weren't happy with that?
They are not happy, but I think it was the right decision. Even I intervened. The recommendation of the SOE was 10%. But I feel that 10% was on the high side. This is a poor country. We look at our social settings also. In factoring all that, I became a mediator between them, you know, to balance it. And we accepted 50% of what was recommended. But I think it's a very good start. It's a wake-up call for other institutions. And we will go further, you know, to punish institutions that are not doing well. Obviously, we are not going to take taxpayers' money and invest it in our institutions. We are not going to do that now.
Interesting. Away from that, Your Excellency, let's look at something which is a big concern for Gambians, issue of corruption. Many say, your government isn't doing much to address corruption, and because of that, your government is now losing that trust from the public. What are you doing to fight corruption, Your Excellency?
We cannot eliminate corruption, but
Why?
we can minimize it, we can reduce it. Corruption as all as mankind. Corruption is all over the world, even the most advanced countries. They are involved in corruption. But their way of corruption and our way of corruption is different. They institutionalize their own corruption, so they cover it.
Mm-hmm.
Corruption is always subjective. we can just wake up and say, there is corruption, or this person is corruption. But how do you substantiate that? How do you justify your case beyond any reasonable doubt? This is where the question is. But I'm telling you, Ali, I have no friend in government. I owe nobody any obligation. That's why our audit institutions, they have never been independent as they are today. If they are conducting this audit, I'm not even aware of it. But any report that is on my table and accompanied by a recommendation, I've always accepted their recommendations 100%. But these are processes. When we accept these recommendations, we forward these reports to the police. The police will look at who and who are involved in what, at what level. They process them. When they think that you have a case, in that process also, it doesn't stop with the police. The police also forward their file to the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice will also forward a look at it, whether we have enough evidence, sufficient evidence to go to the court. Because we don't want to go to the court only for the sake of going to the court. It is taxpayers' money that we are spending, going to the court also. If we think that we have a case and we have substantive evidence against anybody in this country, we'll drag you to the courts. There are a lot of the reports that are the police right now. They are processing them. I think some even cases have started. But that institution is independent, completely independent, and the judiciary is independent. That's all we can do. But you know what people want me to do? When there is audit report against Aliu, I should go and arrest Aliu and put him in jail. I cannot do that. For dictators, they can do that. But me, I cannot do that. Because if I am doing that, I'm violating the constitution of this country. I don't want to do that.
But I think
I will allow the processes to take their course. And I trust the institutions that are doing those processes also. That is the police, that is the Ministry of Justice, and the judiciary. It's their responsibility. But all the reports, adverse reports that have came to my table, I approve them to be processed.
Granted, I mean, no doubt you are the democratic leader. I mean, you trust in these institutions. But one will say most of these cases are still idling out there. I mean, the case of the millions missing at the Gambia Post Authority, the COVID-19, some funds were missing. I mean, other reports were issued for actions to be taken, yet nothing has been done.
But for the port, there is already a recommendation for court. The case is finished. But these things are not easy to process, you know, Ali. Okay. I think people don't follow what happened outside this country. Even in Western countries, I don't want to name names, but there are high-profile cases in America. How long it took them to process those cases? How long? Gambians want it to happen now. But people are talking like that. But the moment anything of that happens to anybody, will you want you to be processed that way? Hastily, we just process you without following due process and we take you to jail? It's not like that. But I'm telling you, even State House here, auditors come to the State House. One day I was just closing from work. I saw people in my house touching the wall and so forth. When I have, who are these people? They say they're auditors. That is what is happening now. They come and audit, even depend. They are painting my house, they audit it. But me have very free consent.
But do you think we can do better as a country?
We can do better. We can do better if we improve on our institutions. If our institutions are strong, then we are good to go. But we haven't got to that level yet. We cannot just jump from here, then we are at the level of America or England. This is what they compare. It's not possible. Even in those countries, it doesn't happen overnight. It took time. It took time for it to happen. So it will also take time here to happen. But I'm telling you, in the future, every public officials in this country will be very, 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 very careful. I'm telling you also, I am seeing that happening now, because even processes that are coming from us, it takes time before they are processed and finished. You know, sometimes, even if we are traveling, sometimes we travel with our party because they say the process are not finished. President, recently when we travel, it's like that. So everybody is careful. Tomorrow, if I am called, how am I going to answer this? Because the law says A, B, and C. Personally, I'm affected.
How?
I say sometimes I travel with our party. My team, entire team, we travel. Our processes are not finished. We cannot get money in place.
So how do you survive there in foreign countries?
This is the country. We sacrifice. Even if we are going to eat muro butter, we go and eat muro butter and we manage our sardine and all sort of. But this is the country. We have to sacrifice. This is what we are doing. So when you want to put things in place, I think you yourself, you have to support the processes to make sure everything is done, everything is within the rule of law.
Well, how about attitudes of people working in government? I mean, how do you feel when you see people who serve in the same system are the same people who are trying to criticize your government? How does it make you feel?
Yes.
There's someone serving in your own government.
Sometimes I feel bad, but I think in a democracy, people sometimes have their opinion. Okay. If you are in this office and you don't want to be a dictator, you have to be highly tolerant. You have to be tolerant. Because people will criticize you. People will have opinion. But if your consent is free, sometimes it doesn't, disturb you that much. It doesn't give you sleepless night. But at the end of the day, do the right thing. That will always help you in your consent and help in whatever you are doing and moving this country forward. There are people who were against President Barrow, but today they believe in me. I try to convince them.
So you have no fear after leaving power?
No, I have no fear. I will live here, Ali, in this country. In this office, you can make mistake maybe, but I will not make a deliberate mistake. But I know it is illegal and it's not correct, and it's not within the law. I do it deliberately? No. Maybe I do it mistakenly. It's possible. But Ali, I want to live in this country, and I want to leave a very good legacy in this country. I want, when I'm leaving power, peaceful transfer of power in this country, from one president to the other.
For the first time?
That's what I want to be part of my legacy, for the first time in our history. I'm looking forward to that.
Let's now move to these two reforms, the draft constitution. 2020, it was rejected in Parliament, democratically rejected because Parliament voted to reject it. Another draft, 2024, some people call it the Barrow's draft 2024 constitution. What are you doing to address the obstacles that are preventing the passing of a new constitution?
We are all partners in development. We are all part of the processes that we are doing in this country. As journalists, as educationists, as parliamentarians, ministers, president, we are all partners in development. And this constitution is for Gambia. It's for Gambians. And we want a constitution that is very inclusive. And we don't want also a president that is powerless. You cannot run your country if the president doesn't have powers. No. You can run your country. Nobody will fear you. And that will not help our country. But I think this draft, we can disagree to agree, but we can debate and discuss on this. And we have a consensus over it. and have a new constitution. Because I think there are very good clauses in this constitution. There are laws in this constitution that can accommodate this country and that can help this country move forward. We have term limit in this constitution. We have absolute majority in this constitution, part of our election.
That's 50 plus percent.
Yes, 50 plus 1. We have in this constitution. We have term limit. I'm a big fan of term limits.
Really?
Yeah, big one, big time. I'm number one fan of term limit. Because it's good for our institutions. Most of presidents overstayed in power. Sometimes when you overstay, sometimes you go out of ideas. You don't have energy again to move things forward. We don't want that to happen in this country. We don't want people to overstay in power. We want you to come and do your quarter and go. I'm a big fan of that. So I think voting for this constitution, that alone should make us to vote for this constitution, to limit the president's term.
But some are arguing that, your cabinet has removed a very key chapter in the 2020 draft constitution, which is chapter 5 on leadership and integrity. Why?
These are small things that they look at. There are things that are more important. What is that? Is that a major issue that will make you to vote against the constitution? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Isn't this a ping-pong game between the NPP and the UDP? They voted for the 2020 draft, and the NPP and Ally, voted against it, and we are seeing the same thing already. The UDP has said they are voting against it.
This is not about the NPP and UDP. This is about the Gambia. Gambia is bigger than NPP, is bigger than NPP. All our positions that we are today occupying is the Gambian people who put us there. Today, if the Gambian people want to sack me, they sack me. They are the ones who employ me. I have no power. My only power is the Gambian people. Those National Assembly members who are elected as UDP, it's the Gambian people who elected them. Do you think they have powers? Some of them who are in the National Assembly now and they are voted out, do they have that power? They have the power. The power belongs to the Gambian people. It's not about NPP and UDP. Majority of you have a voice. You can speak out. You can organize debates. You can put us under pressure. And we will obviously accept what the Gambian people want in this country. It's not about NPP and UDP. That is not realistic.
And you think it will be passed in Parliament?
That's what we think. And that's what we want. And we are open to discussions. We are open to talk to anybody. Me, I'm more than willing even to engage with Senda directly.
Really?
Yeah, of course. I have worked with that man for 10 years. I'm an executive member of the United Democratic Party for 10 years. So we work together. We used to sit together.
And do you miss that?
Well, I will not put it that way.
Maybe eating bahal together on Fridays? He
is my father. He's my political father. So obviously, I have respect for him. And at the same time, I think he is an important, stakeholder in the Gambian politics and in whatever we are doing in this country as far as politics is concerned. So if he's an important stakeholder, obviously, you as the president, you are also a very important stakeholder. So obviously, for you to sit together and discuss certain things in the supreme interest of this country, I'll be more than happy and willing to sit down with Hussein Dago and we discuss about this constitution and move forward. It's not about us. It's about Gambia, you. We are the majority. We are just two people, two individuals.
I'm sure many viewers will be surprised to hear this from President Barrow.
Of course. No, they should not be surprised.
Because maybe they have a different
We are not
perception.
enemies. I'm telling you. We are not enemies. We all have a good intention for this country. That's what we are competing for. Nothing else. I'm telling you. I can sit down with Hussein Bravo, even cameras on. I can do it. To me, it's nothing. I'm just giving an opportunity to serve. I'm not superhuman. You understand? But I was just destined to be president. That's why today I'm president. Anybody else can be president tomorrow.
Including Dabo himself?
Of course. Yes. It's possible. But the interest of this country is paramount, is important, is bigger than all of us. So all of us should allow ourselves to discuss, communicate, interact, and look at the interests of the Gambia and move forward.
What's your take on the current state of security in the country? I know you have heard of the incident that happened recently.
Yes, I have about the incident that happened. It's unfortunate that it happened. I will not discuss much about it because it is a subject of investigation, and investigations are advancing, and the investigation is also revealing things that might surprise all of us. But it's our responsibility to protect the people living in this country, to protect their property, protect their assets. But security is very, very expensive. It's very expensive to police a system 24 hours. Our resources are very much limited. And that is a challenge. But we have been innovative. We are trying to get a levy for the security so that we can get enough resources to make sure the police are able to do their duty as they want it, so that we have enough patrols, enough policing in our system, enough men, enough technology also to police our system. It's not about human, participation. It's about technology also. This is what we are looking at. We are very, very concerned. Sometimes people look at one specific case or happening and conclude on security. Security is beyond that. If you look at our statistics, most of the time we have about 120, 130, sometimes below 100 cases a week. There are weeks that we don't have breaking at all countrywide. But when we have a case of that is a subject of discussion and debate, they just conclude with that case. But the police are doing a very, very good job. If you are following the case of Keneba, it was the same case, same type of case. But we were able to follow them until they were all arrested. They are all now in jail. So with this one also, we think we will get to the bottom. And very soon, we will come out with our final investigation. But for now, we are really advancing on what has happened on that particular fateful day.
2026 election is fast approaching. Earlier on, you said you are a fan of term limits. Will President Barrow be seeking another term?
Yes. I'll give you a direct answer, yes.
But why?
It is not about President Barrow, it's about my party. It's about my party. My party is a very young party. And I don't want my party to die at the infant stage.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Party is very, very young. I don't think we are that more organized to that level to afford losing their leader at this stage. So that's why, as leader and secretary general of that party, my entire team feel that the party is too young for me to hand over the party.
It's too young, that as big as you claim to be, that there is no other suitable candidate?
It's not the size only.
Okay.
It's the age of our party, the maturity of our party. You understand? So that's where we think it's very, very early. You understand? And we just don't want to start a party and the party die immediately. We don't want that.
With all
They are the ones who are thinking that way. For me, I thought that this time, but all of them, honestly speaking, if you talk to them, they'll tell you. All of them think that it's too early for me to leave.
10 years.
All of them think that if I leave now,
okay,
then I'm killing the party. And I don't want to kill this party. I started this party. I want the party to be an institution. I want this party to continue for the next 100 years, to be relevant in Gambian politics. And all of them feel that I should be the one who will lead that. But to me alone, I think I have nothing to prove in Gambian politics. Maybe if I say, people will say, why President Barrow is saying he doesn't have anything to prove? Two things that I can mention that I have nothing to prove. First, I defeated a dictator who was here for 22 years. Me and you, we all thought that nobody will defeat the Ajame in this country, especially through the ballot box.
Well, he promised to rule billion years.
God brought me, and I was able to defeat him. So I proved myself in that first instance. I proved myself during my term as president. The people who were around me, especially my own party, they thought that it's because that's why I'm in power. They put me in power. That's what they think. God said, no, I will separate you two. Then I will open the game between two of you.
And
I contested against them. I defeated them again. So I have proved myself for the second time. What do I have to prove again?
And how confident are you that you are going to win? I mean, last year, Afrobarometer conducted a survey, in which it said, 77% of the Gambian population said the country is going in the wrong direction.
You know, this is all subjective. You have different opinions, different organizations. Okay. There is an organization called EIU. I don't know whether you have seen that report. It's about a 19-page or 29-page report. Yeah. I want you to go and read that. The report concluded that I'm going to win the elections. So these are all opinions. To me, I'm confident that I think I'm doing a good job. I think I have not done anything that warrant the Gambian people to sack me. I'm not killing anybody. I'm not going against the law. I'm not using executive powers over anybody. So, and I think also we are moving this country in the right direction. We are developing this country. We are implementing unprecedented projects, landmark projects in this country. Road infrastructure, electricity, schools, health facilities, salary in 110%. By January, a lot of people will be very rich by the end of this January. So we are doing all these things. And our collection has increased. This year, 2024 and 2023, our collection, the difference is about 5 billion. This year, our target, we have gone above our target by 1.5, 1.8, something like that.
GRS target was 19 billion, which they exceeded. This year, they're targeting over $20 billion.
That's it. So we are increasing our collection. And we are using technology also. So I think we are doing a good job. That's what I think.
With all these achievements,
so with all these achievements, you think people will choose somebody else over me? I don't think so. But anyhow, it's the Gambian people who will decide. But I'm very, very confident that I can win 2026. Maybe with a bigger margin this time. Huh?
What will you point
I
to
will,
as
I will defeat my
I know
father.
we're running out of
I will defeat my father again.
we're running out of time, Your Excellency. But what will you point to as your biggest failure of your government?
Well, I cannot pinpoint one failure, but I can tell you generally what I wanted was to build very, very, very strong institutions. And that became a challenge. That's why I created the Ministry of Public Service, so that we can work on our reforms, fast track them, build capacity, you understand, so that we will have strong, strong institutions, strong professionals in our institutions to make sure our institutions are strong. Because I believe if our institutions are strong, institutions will dictate all what we do in this country. And also, we are still struggling with the Constitution. I think the Constitution would have been part of our legacy. I think I will not call it a failure because the process is still on. I think that has also been a challenge for my government.
And finally, Your Excellency, your message to Gambians, especially those who are skeptical about your leadership and future of the country, finally?
Yeah, my message to Gambians is this country belongs to all of us. The country doesn't belong to President Barrow. It doesn't belong to Hussein Dabo. It belongs to all of us. Let us all put our hands together and work in the interest of this country moving forward. And let all of us respect the rule of law. Let us all follow due processes, and let us be tolerant. And let us be careful also the way we use social media. We cannot go insulting each other in social media. It's not decent. It's not good. It will not help us. It will not take us anywhere. But I seize the opportunity also to thank the Gambian people for giving me this opportunity. They are the one who gave me the opportunity. When I was coming, nobody basically knows me in this country, but they trusted me and gave me the opportunity to manage the affairs of this country for the first time and for the second time. I think I am very appreciative of that. It is an honor and it's a privilege also to have given such an opportunity. And I assure them that I will not disappoint them. I will serve them. And I want a free transfer of power in this country after my presidency. And I live here as an elderly statesman and establish a foundation to continue supporting the Gambian people. And you, Aliu, I thank you for this opportunity, and I thank QTV for giving me this opportunity again. I think this will not be the last interview. We will do other interviews again in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for granting us your time despite your busy schedules. Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end to this special interview with President Barrow as we take a look at the current state of affairs of the country. Well, join us next time. Until then, bye-bye from me, Aliu Sise, and the entire production team.